Wiggle, wiggle.
Like.
Hey Blitzers, Muffin here again. Welcome to the channel. I have a request for the VK30.1D. If there are tips and tricks you're looking for, I am compiling a playlist. Shoot over there. Maybe there's a vid on a specific tank I've already done that could help you out. So diving in right into the VK30. Right off the bat, I'm going to an area that I need to spot. So I need to fulfill my role in getting to an area that I can give myself eyes on where the enemy is and eyes for my team. Now, this spot's a little open right there, so I didn't want to completely stop. Wanted to keep moving. I want to try to get a snapshot off. Ended up missing, but this is a tank that you very standardly must play your role. So as a medium or light tank, you have to understand the map and good positions on where to spot, where you can be stationary when spotting. That hill didn't really have a bush, and so I kind of wanted to keep moving. So there's mobility spotting and there's stagnant spotting. Stagnant spotting is areas where you can get behind a bush, you can get that cover, you can use your view range. And mobility spotting is when you're just quickly moving around the map, not really stopping, and keeping yourself in areas that are keeping you in an area that's somewhat safe. So if you get spotted or while you're spotting others, you can quickly get behind cover and still keep moving. It's a tank you very much have to rely on the landscape to protect yourself, or if you don't and you've got an enemy focused firing on you, you can angle, which you'll see I do bounce some rounds off this thing. But the thing about the VK30 is it doesn't have very good gun depression. It has 8 degrees, which is okay, but for the most part you'll see in times that I struggle with that depression. And so this tank, you can get yourself on some hills that aren't too steep to use that, and you'll see areas that I do use that, but for the most part you do want to stay more so on that flatter ground, because even though 8 degrees, and you'll see once again the gun depression right there, I didn't really want to completely go out, but when I did go completely out, it left me exposed and took me longer to get back behind cover. And I was expecting, when I played tier 6, that the player base isn't as experienced. So here I could chase the leopard. We were able to luckily finish him off, but I didn't want to get myself in an area to put myself completely surrounded by the enemy. So we're kind of at a loss here with this battle. This one I'm just trying to finish out. We're down pretty much a lot. But when it comes to medium tanks, it's a matter of spotting, using the territory. You want to use the hills, the rocks, kind of as these barriers or gaps of safety where the enemy is. So using your view range, spotting, understanding where the enemy is, where your team is, and then making those adjustments of moving around the map on where it makes most sense and where you have the opportunity to focus fire and take out the enemy. So here is a second replay, and I'm going once again straight to an area that is more of a stagnant spot for spotting. So I'm behind a bush, which gives me more cover. I do have to be a little careful on the left, because if somebody else from the enemy team comes up, they might be able to spot me and get a shot off, but I've got teammates pushing up further than me. So if they end up spotting, they could end up getting hit first. So here, this is kind of what I was hoping for, is if enemy tanks were to be trying to cross over in that alleyway, we can get some shots off. Now here you can see that the tank itself does have a little bit of gun depression, and that's what I'm using here. So I'm trying to hyper angle my my hull armor. So it's kind of like backed up behind a hill and the lower part's protected. And when your armor is hyper angled like that, it causes your armor to be stronger. Now the turret itself isn't super strong, but at least increases your chances of bouncing. So here now I'm becoming more mobile, I'm engaging, and this is what I mean by using your like the map data, like understanding where your team is and where the enemy is, because based upon what I see here, the entire enemy is basically surrounded in this this small area. And this gives us a lot of flexibility and freedom. Now you'll notice I didn't kind of rush up to where my other teammate was, because it only creates one barrier between me and the enemy. If the enemy were, I mean, you could kind of do that, but you got to be careful, because the enemy could just come rushing at you. And if you don't if you don't think ahead of time and giving yourself either enough time to get out of there, you could find yourself in trouble. So here, I don't want to I notice I'm using my third person view here that the SU-100Y is focusing on me. So I don't want to pull out in front of him. I want to use more of the landscape. And you'll notice that I'm trying to keep myself on flatter ground, but still use the hills and still trying to just snapshot this SU-100Y, which is putting him in a little bit of a hard spot. He's moving, so I know his accuracy is not going to be as good compared to when he's stationary. But I'm really trying, you'll notice I'm really trying to use the landscape. I'm not trying to completely poke out and overexpose myself, because I don't want to trade HP with this guy, because he has a very high damage alpha gun. So just using the territory, I noticed my teammates kind of gone up, and I noticed the SU-100Y has taken his sights off me, and that's where you can move in and engage in those closer engagements, is when you find those opportunities. And so that's where this tank, it's a very standard way to play a medium. I wouldn't say there's really anything too special about this, but hope this helps. This is the Muffin here. You guys stay cool and keep taking.